My name is Joshua Mbugua. I'm a pastor with a church called the Green Pastures Tabernacle Church, all the way in Rongai. Yes.
Yes, and I am Anne Mbugua, Pastor Joshua's wife. By extension, a pastor's wife. Yeah, I'm also in the marketplace. Yeah. We've been married for now 20 years. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. This is back in 2000 while in church, and we were serving together. And then, of course, I really can't pick the particular occasion or time, but here she is. Ladies have finished college. She had a very close friend, though late now, and they were always together. And so they come and join the church. Soon they join the worship team, and that's when I saw her for the first time. What, of course, captured my attention without any idea, hey, she can sing, and she had a voice. That's when I noticed her. Yes.
You're actually putting my mind racing because I really can't pick it when I saw him for the first time. But when we came from college, we were a number of us because our bishop, Bishop Stanley Mwalili, used to preach at the college then. So when we came out and we are now looking for jobs, we looked for a place where we would fellowship. And I just joined this church, which had many vibrant youths. He was among them because he would be in the choir. And also I happened to live with my sister, and we lived in the same locality. So we would go home together. But I can't really pick when I saw him first. Yes. Yeah.
Maybe to add on that, in our area where we used to live, we used to do the small group, the fellowship. So we were all together in the same group. And so I guess that made us begin now to become friends on a very general ground. Yes.
Okay, I think it was a general friendship.
Yes.
At the time. Very general, very honest, very open. He used to be in the choir, I used to be in the choir. At some point, he became the youth chairman. I was the secretary, and we did a lot of ministry together.
Yes,
at the free time. We were open, we were honest, and it was really a general, open friendship. Yeah.
And of course, now being that I'm the leader of the youth, she's in my leadership team. So there's a lot of interaction. Yes, because we are doing events, outdoors, overnights, we are singing together, traveling and all that. So that made us really just connect and became general friends, getting to know about her family, her life, that. Actually, one time, her parents, unfortunately, in 2001 or 2002, they were involved in a very bad road accident. And they broke their legs and they were admitted in the hospital in Tumutumu for about 2-3 months. So our pastor, asked me as a volunteer in church to go see her parents on behalf of the church. No idea. So me and her, with another this close friend of ours who is late, we took a matatu and went. So I go and I meet both parents, and we are talking. And I meet even the bro.
And my brother.
And, no idea. So I come back and give a report. The way the parents are doing fine, the mom is doing okay. An amazing dad there who really spoke to us in English, and you are like, wow, hey, she must have come from a very serious family.
But interestingly, my brother was like, oh, you've come with your boyfriend. And I'm like, no, he's the youth chair of the church, and he came to represent the youth from where I'm fellowshipping currently. Yeah.
So that's how close we were. Once in a while, now my younger sister joined the church, and 1 or 2 other sisters also partly who used to come once in a while. And she also shared the time to really meet my sister, and they were very close friends with my younger sister, who's called Marvelyn.
Yeah.
And we all of us actually singing in the choir.
Yes,
that's how we were friends. So now that I'm beginning to get responsibilities in church, and I'm coming of age at around 26, 27, 28, I began to say, hey, now I need to get married. Though I had a lady friend who used to live in Uganda. So we were dating, but we began to realize it's not going to work. So she came for the brother's wedding here in Kenya. Now, who is this friend who could host my friend? So I went to Anne and I asked Anne, kindly, there's another lady, girlfriend of mine called Anne. Can you host her? He said, yeah. She was a very good lady and hosted her friend. But to me, when we sat with my friend, it couldn't work because now she's living in Uganda, her vision is there, me, I'm in Kenya. So we graciously, in a very painful way, parted ways. I don't know how it happened, but I know she has a story about that. So then here I am now. I'm not engaged anymore or not relating anymore. So I started now asking the Lord, who is this who's going to be my wife? And now in church, I said, I have one or two friends in church. So I approached her. It was a very interesting approach. I don't know, but maybe she can share. We had this overnight in church. And the following Sunday, I was going to preach because it was a youth service. It was going to be my first time to ever preach in church. But I kept thinking about her. I kept saying, I think she can be my wife. And we are close. So on Saturday afternoon, I called and I told her, by the way, there's something I need to tell you. It's very important. And earlier on, she was used to me going to her when I'm in problems. And she would really encourage me and console me. Maybe those are the things that made me begin to see, she can even console me the rest of my life. So I went there and of course came into her house, this nice house, and she cooked lunch, we ate. So she was waiting to hear, what is this story again? Because I was full of challenges. If it's not being broke, heartbroken, ministry challenges, people not doing all those things, family issues. So I told her, I have this one problem. You are actually in my mind. And you, Anne, I want to marry you. She looked at me and said, Josh, are you sure you're not okay? Are you sure? Actually, she told me, please, go and remove me from your mind. And at that point, I was told to leave. So I went and took my shoes and exited. I went. But I left there so excited, knowing at least I have told her what I want. So it's upon her to accept. And that's how I actually told her that I want to marry her. Yeah. Yes.
All right. This is bringing a lot of memories. Maybe just a short background. I was brought up in a Presbyterian church of East Africa, PCA that is, and my parents were key leaders, and they really cautioned us a lot, especially my dad. Yeah, and there were a lot of Pentecostal churches being opened in the area, and there's a lot he said about the Pentecostal pastors, right from them not going to school, they just come out from PCA and start something. So for me, really, a Pentecostal pastor was not one of my prayer items when it came to marriage. So at the time when he came, we had really interacted. We were facing a lot of issues together, both leadership and even personal issues. So at the time when he came, I was not really viewing him. He was not really part of my priority, if I would say, in line with marriage. I knew he would settle, he would get a great girl, and I would also get a great guy somewhere. So at that time when he proposed, anyway, it was not a big deal to say no to men. Yeah, I quickly would check through my checklist. And this one, because like in college, a lot of men propose. Sometimes we would feel like they would go discuss, then they are like, well, umeenda, amekwambia no, wacha nijaribu, So we were used to telling men no, especially in campus. But now at this time, for me, I felt like it was a continuation of the same. This was a guy we were working with. Now he has decided, all of a sudden, he just wants to try testing me like other men try out. And so it was very quick for me to tell him and no. But something in my heart just told me to seek counsel a little more. So that's when now I went to our spiritual mom, that's Dr. Anne Mwalili, Bishop Stanley Mwalili's wife, a lovely lady. And I shared with her everything. I told her, apart from the name, I told her now these young men, they are the ones I like, they don't propose. The ones I have no thought of, they are the ones now coming. The real hustlers. And the ones coming to propose to me. And then she just listened. She was such a lovely lady. She mentored us a lot. She listened very quietly. And she told me, Anne, I agree. There are many men out there. But don't be quick to say a no. Yeah. Just take time and pray. Yeah. Surrender that issue to God and let God guide you if you should go on or not. So I stopped it at that and went to pray. Yeah.
Well, because earlier than that, even before I went to tell her that I want to marry her, I tried to talk to another lady in church. It didn't last 3 months. It was so bad that I was taken to the pastor's house because something bad happened. And so not necessarily a sinful thing, but we didn't agree on some 2 things or 3. And so she was very angry and took me to... So my pastor knew this man needs to be checked. So when at some point now when I was interested in her, I said... So actually, interestingly, my pastor calls me. I was from a wedding. And then I get to town from Machakos. He calls me and says, come to my house. I need to give you some stuff. So I went there. While we are talking, as a son, when you go to see your senior, you don't just sit on the couch. So because Mama was in the kitchen, so I went to the kitchen and because I wanted an opportunity to say something. So I whispered to her and I said, by the way, there's a lady I've been talking to and I feel like that she should be the one. She just said, okay, also you go pray. And so in her heart, she registered, this must be the same lady who was here a while ago. And that was it. So when I am coming back and going to my own work, because I was still a student, I know I was hustling, trying to set up my own business, but serving in church. One day, I received a text from Anne. And that text, I'm telling you, changed the whole ball game. She just asked me, how was your day? She has never asked me that for the longest, and especially in this period where I've been trying to approach her. I'm telling you, my heart settled. And because I am good in communication and relationship, now I activated on that message and asked her, please, we can take a cup of tea. And with my situation, I was really, really struggling financially. I used to take her to some places. Nilikuwa najikaza. I put some money together and I take her to a nice place. She only laughs and tells me, nowadays you never take me to those places. What happened? You know, again, as a man, you have to put your foot, you have to put your best foot forward. And so we started now having dates and talking like that.
When Mom told me to pray, I decided I am good at praying. I think because I've realized for me, my source of strength comes from God. So when I have great times and also tough times, I really pour my heart out to God, my Creator. And at that time, I really decided to take time and pray. I rarely prayed about the men, but this one, Mom has said, actually, I was acting on her word. But as I prayed, I started feeling, it's like now he started playing, it's like his life started playing in me now. And after he proposed, he disappeared. I think for about 3 months, he went back to Kitale. I think he went home or something. So he was nowhere to be found. And me at that time, I was praying and telling God, okay, many have come, professionals. In fact, at that time, there were 2 others who had proposed and they were professionals. So there were 3. But I discussed with Mom on this particular one. Who is him now? So I went down and started praying, and I was telling God, just show me in your own way who is really my right person, because I don't want to make a mistake on this one. The one I loved, actually, the one I thought I had feelings for, had gotten married. So now it was an open book. But as I prayed now, I started having such a desire to see him. I'm like, what happened to him? 1 month, 2 months. So I started feeling like, I hope he's okay. I started having such a concern for him. Is he doing okay? He has not shared his troubles
God
yet.
was fighting for me.
So I believe God started stirring me up, and I really wanted to talk to him. I really wanted to meet him. Then he came back to Nairobi, and that time now we had started dates. Something very unique happened. My dad now was able to walk, but he was limping, and he came to Nairobi. He would come to Nairobi, visit me at Gashie, then go sleep at my uncle's place. And this time, he's come to Nairobi in the evening, and the line is so long.
The matatu line.
But he can't stand for long. Yeah. Then
so let me say that story.
Okay. She asked, at what point did I say yes? So I wanted to say, now already I have a fondness.
Okay.
But at the point I said yes was now when God truly rubber stamped it in my spirit in his own way. So you can give this.
So now I'm going home. And this particular day, I don't know what event we had in church, so I was really looking smart and in a tie. So while I'm in the queue, I see a man. And my memories ran, and I said, this is Aunt's dad, the one we met in the hospital. Now he's having, a crunch like that. So I approached him. He doesn't actually recall me at all. But because I was putting on a tie, he said, I will listen to this man. Because he thought other people are like con men, or people want to steal something from him. So I told him, I know. I see you with this, and I know you. No,
he actually walked along the line and got to where he was. And he
came to me.
Then he told him, my son, is this the line? Is this the car? The line for cars going to Gashie.
Yeah.
Then he looked up, he realized,
I know
this is
man.
Aunt's dad.
Let
so quickly he took advantage.
I was seeing God. I was seeing God at work. Like, this is Aunt's dad asking me, how? I took his hand, took him to the front. I spoke to the conductor and the driver. I said, this is my father. Let him sit in front and take him to where he needs to go. And he went to now where they used to live.
Yes, and he came. When he arrived, that was the first story he told me.
Wow.
So he told me, I found my son on the line, and he has really helped me get to your place before it's dark so that I see you and go away. And I was quick to try and understand, who is this your son?
Yeah.
So he started explaining, and the dots were adding up too. So immediately I called him, I asked him, "I man who has helped my dad into a matatu?" He says yes. And I'm like, oh God, this is a direct tick.
Yes.
No sooner than then did I not say a yes. I said a yes very fast. And dropped off the others.
Yes.
Yeah, I now focused on that.
Yeah.
Now, interestingly, the mom used to, I had never met the dad, but the mom used to come to Nairobi because all her daughters are in Nairobi.
Yes.
And even at the time, they were in Nairobi. So she used to come, and when she comes, they would come to church.
Ah, yeah.
So I had already met the mom indirectly. Yes, because the daughters were friends. So when she comes in, she's a very social lady. So we would all say hello. So I knew his mom, and I knew the sisters.
Right.
But the dad I had never known until now when we went home. Yeah.
So the first time actually this, culture, you go, the boys are sent to go and report that the old men are coming because in this home, they have seen a girl. So I took my friends. We were 4 of us. One of our friends used to have a Toyota A90, a small car. So we fueled. The mistake we did, none of us was married. And so we head to their home. among the four of us, one of us was a bit elderly or a bit older than us. So we told him, you're going to speak. And he's my friend up to date. Up to date. So we go, and his dad is this very in charge, person. He said, nobody's going to come. It's only the dad and the mom. So we enter and we sit. So the dad looks at us and asks, anyone married? We say, none of us. So what have you come to say? So I asked my friend, of course, now he speaks, very good friend of mine, and we just, and he said, okay, fine. Then you go back, bring now the gentleman. And I think, did your dad share that story there of how we met? I don't know, I can't remember that, but I think he maybe reserved that story for the D-Day. So we came back to Nairobi, now began to plan. Put together all my family, my uncles, both from my mother's side, my dad's side, a few church leaders, and we head to Narumoro now for the dowry ceremony. Of course, those years, 20 years ago, I mean 20, maybe 21, 22 years ago, it was just, everything was done in the house. Now what really gave me favor was that story at the stage. So we enter, we sit, and the dad, together with his people, are seated there. The dad says, before we start anything, I have a testimony that God has confirmed that this young man is going to be my son. You know how I was feeling in my heart? I was feeling so good. And then he shared the testimony, and the event was so short and brief. They was there said, okay, we'll follow what the dad said. Very good men, they didn't push me a lot. They said, whatever you have, put on the table. Let me now give you the interesting story. When we came back to Nairobi, it was, I think, it was in a mid-month when we went for the dowry. I came back broke because some of my relatives needed fare to send them back home. I gave them everything. And remember what? I was earning 3,500 shillings per month. Those years. She was earning 3 times myself. So I asked now, I have done all I could, put some money together, taken to her parents. I don't even have transport to go to work because I was volunteering in church. So I called her and I said, please, for these 2 weeks, you can save me a little bit something so that you can push me for the next days. So that's how we did our first, the second, and now we began to plan for the wedding. Yes.
Maybe before I get there, let me say this story, really God used it in a big way to help my dad accept him. Because remember, he was already a Pentecostal pastor. Yes, but God made sure he confirmed it to my dad so that even the discussions, as I told my dad that I'm likely to bring some visitors, of course I would speak through my mom. I would tell my mom, then my mom would tell my dad. And my mom at some point told me, he told my mom to ask me directly, who is this? Let her describe this young man a little more.
Yeah.
But because he was very good with names, when I mentioned the names, the story played again. So I think God really gave us favor that way. Yeah, so now going to your question, it's very interesting because I know many girls normally say you'd rather cry in a Mercedes Benz, yes, than laugh on a bicycle. I think it's usually a slogan. But one thing my mom continually told me is that as God blesses you with someone, do not look at what they currently have, but look at the potential they have. 1, do they fear God? 2, are they hardworking? Can they work with their hands? And 3, are they visionary? Do they have dreams? Do they have desires? So as I was really trusting God for a guy, I was really opening up my mind to that, because she was telling me there are even many girls who may be married as second wives where the man already built an empire, but they are desperate. They are crying their in. So she instilled in me great principles that superseded money. So money for me was not a priority when I was trusting God for a guy to settle with. And that's why when God confirmed it in my spirit that it is him, I didn't have much gambling. And anyway, I liked him. Now with time, I really came to like him.
Wonderful.
I would realize how tall he was, how dark he was, how diligent. He was actually very diligent, even as a single man. So it was out of joy in my heart.
Wow. For me, I loved first of all her dedication to God, her commitment. She would really sacrifice and serve God, and because I knew who I'm gonna be, and now that I'm getting into ministry. And secondly, of course, her complexion. Yes, I mean, that made me say, hey, she looks beautiful. And of course, her smile. One of the things that is amazing about Anne is she will smile 24/7. I mean, that really attracted me to her. And something else was just, she would really sing. You know, she would hold the mic, my friend. And I'm saying, if someone can sing for me like this in my house. Okay, I used to think that's what's going to happen throughout, but I really loved her commitment, her seriousness, and all that.
Does it not happen?
She does, yeah. She would, she
Not
would
as
play a
much,
song for
not
1
as
hour,
much.
one song repeatedly, and she sings, and I'm just seated there, I'm saying, Jesus.
Okay, I liked his appearance. He was a tall, dark, and handsome. I think his appearance was quite striking, and I also liked his command of. When he addressed people, he had such a courage and boldness accompanied with passion, and he really loved God. Yeah, he really prayed for people. He prayed for the youth. I thought he would be praying for me every day. And I realized
I pray in the spirit.
on the ground things are different. I thought I would be telling him I need prayers, and he comes in Jesus. But he was really passionate. But I also really liked his dedication to serving God, because whatever he chose to do at the time, he did it with all his heart. He would organize even youth meetings if he felt we should visit a specific person or a specific person is suffering, we would go even and carry our own food, but we would make sure we give ministry. So he had such a passion and a dedication to touch hearts, the lives of people. That really made me go out for him. But more so, he was very humorous. Very humorous, yeah. He just used to make me laugh. He would open his mouth like this, and you're set for laughter. Now, by the way, he may reduce. Yeah, and at the time, he also looked very emotional, which I think has since faded away.
Now here I am an associate pastor in church, and so we put together. One of the things I told her, because generally I'm a mobilizer, I don't struggle organizing, raising funds. So we did our budget in 2004, around September. That was our wedding took place. Our budget was September 4th. Our wedding cost was 100,000, which was like impossible. And so we sat and I told her, I just need 50 people each to give me 2,000 shillings. So give me your list, I'll give you my list. She struggled she did the list, but I told her, you go look for the raise from your 50, from your people, I'll raise from mine. And of course we got our leaders and the committee and all that, and we began to fundraise. One of the things that I really want to appreciate was the support we got, especially from church.
But I think that's where our first conflict began. Because he was able to ask for money from people. But for me, I could not. Even my own siblings, I could not tell them, please support us.
We actually spent less than 100,000.
90.
About 90,000. And people still kept giving. When we came back from our honeymoon, our treasurer, we still have a friend up to today because we're in college together. I'll never forget him. He called me and said, Pastor, here is your balance. He gave us back 10,000. I was able to pay rent for another 2 months or so. And even I gave the treasurer 1,000. I told him, "You're a good man, go and eat lunch." 1,000 in 2004 was a lot of money.
We really, really would appreciate our bishops, our family members, our friends, yeah, the church members. We got so much support. I think we got a lot of cars. They were fueled. In fact, when they were picking me from my sister's place, funny enough, there was even a police, I think it was by coincidence, but from the photos and the video, there was a police bike in front of the car.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just an interesting, there was everything that a wedding would have. And like now when we see the budgets and we are like, should we repeat or what happened? Was our cake lacking baking powder? Or yeah, very interesting. But the day really went well. So well, it was really nice. My parents by then were strong, so they actually walked me down the aisle. That was really a memorable moment for me. Then of course, Pastor was there, very sharp. It's now we realize that the suit was very baggy. The kids now tell us what design was this, but for us it
like
was
that trouser is big. But it was a fashion that time.
Yeah, it was. I think we didn't even realize that at the time. Yeah, but the wedding really went well. Our bishops were there. They prayed over us. In fact,
Really cried.
Mom is the one who officiated the cake cutting.
Imagine.
And she told us about what you give a girl, that's what they duplicate. If he gives me peace, I multiply, I incubate, and it comes out. If he gives me roughness, I incubate it and also pour it out.
Absolutely.
And the day was really nice in terms of activities. In my heart, it was a very emotional day. Yeah, I really wanted the wedding, but on this day, the reality was dawning that I have actually now left. I am someone's husband. Yeah. So like during the vows, there was a lot of rainfall from the eyes. When signing the certificate, the rain was pouring.
She was really crying. Papa was like, what have I done?
But even you cried.
Especially
you
at the
cried.
prayer, at the prayer point there.
I think even if he was wondering now what next, what am I
couldn't
doing?
believe that I'm marrying after the problems I had.
Yeah, so it was a great day. It had its mixed feelings, but we really thank God for His presence, and we were pronounced husband and wife.
So one of the things I knew now here, she will really be with me in ministry. Wherever I'm going, whether I'm going to Makueni, she's there. I forgot she also works. So of course we have to now balance that. Yeah, but generally for me, I was just a happy guy. Yeah, I think for me, my expectations, I had watched a lot of movies, I had listened. I think I had seen my mom and dad, but you didn't know until when you are in it yourself. So I was expecting we'll be going holding hands, the way you see it, he'll be with me. And for sure, partly these expectations came to pass because I was imagining we'll be doing housework together. When we are done, we go for dinner together, as in we have become one completely. Yeah, when I need help, he'll be all there. He will fix the bulbs, the doors. Yeah, some of the expectations were actually met. That masculine bit where he really became the man. And even these ones of the home, and he tried. The initial days, in fact, I usually remind him after today, he really tried. He would even wash carpets. It was miraculous. Can you imagine?
But it was short-lived, and I started realizing that marriage is actually work. We have to work it together to stay together. Yes. We have to trust in God to help us to even open up and forgive one another so that we are able to move one step at a time. Yeah,
because one of the sudden changes that came, I now began to get busy with ministry. Church is growing and all that, and also her nature of work, and suddenly now we are expecting a baby. I think at around 2005. Wedding 2004, 2005 somewhere, something. Now the baby comes in 2006, in around February.
Yes.
And now, of course, now the whole ball game changes because we were just two of us. When the baby comes, and the baby comes in here, in between us, and then we needed to get now someone else to help us take care of the baby. Now from 2, we have 4. And one of the, among the 4, there is one who is demanding the little one. And now that dynamic of marriage for us, I actually say that's the second phase of marriage. From 2 bliss and just walking carelessly in the house, now we are 4. And mama is coming, my mother is coming, and members are coming. And then now the other phase of life began to change now because children are coming into marriage. Yes.
Yes, so it was a really, the baby was such an excitement. She's Victoria. She's now 18 years.
Yeah.
And thereafter we got Victor, who is now 16.
Yeah, 16
years, yeah. So it was quite exciting to hold a baby in our hands. It was really exciting. And I would say we were surrounded by people who really gave us advice, though we later came to realize sometimes you get the advice, but you practice what is working for you as a couple. Yeah, it's good to get much info so that you are able to sieve and see this one will work for us, this one will not work for us. But we are glad we were able to sail through. It was not very easy, but we adjusted, and Victoria also grew. She started sleeping, and life now turned back to normal.
Maybe one of the things I could add there is we realized then, before we get home, we have our own time.
Yes.
Either go take coffee, and we did a lot of coffees and teas, wherever, whether simple place, complicated place, so that we share our hot takes of the day, you know, talk and talk and talk, so that when she comes home, my attention has been taken care of well. Now we can support the child together. I would stay longer with the child until she sleeps. Of course, for me, I would really play. I would really throw up the kid, do some gymnastics. I would love that. And she was like, "You're going to kill our baby." No, I'm just playing with the baby. Now, at some point, we again got too busy to even get a moment for a cup of tea. Because as years went by, she God blessed us with a car. She also got her car. So me, I'm driving on this way, going to see, doing ministry. She's coming back home late. She has meetings. It began to even concern us. And so it actually, and then babies are growing. And this kind of, now at that level, you can't leave the kids at home. They're like, "Dad, we must go with you," because they want to go and explore. They are now 5 years, 4 years, 6 years, and we couldn't leave them. So the best we could do was on a Sunday. Sunday after church, we would go now have lunch together. Then they go play, and now we catch up. And but now as the kids begin to get into pre-teens, now we can leave them. But again, we are more busier. She would travel a lot, and those kind of things.
Yeah, so I think that's an area where we keep trying to work at it.
Yes.
Yeah, and especially now that our kids are growing, we've realized they've now started, would I use the word sidelining us? Yeah, they seem to have their programs.
Yes.
So they'll tell us, "Mom, as after this, we are going to 1, 2, 3. If it's okay, we'll be back at this time." So now we are having time together by default. But at some point we got so busy.
Yeah.
But maybe what we would encourage someone, it's always good not to get overwhelmed by the activities we have. If possible, it's always good to create time for one another, especially the two of us, because if we gel, then even the children feel safe in the family setting. Yeah,
it took us actually 5 years because we used to think as soon as we marry, every year we'll be going for holiday. But their baby is coming. There is balancing life and trying to even put food on the table. But by and by, we were able now, and we started going for holidays. Those are our best times where we're out of town with our little babies, teaching them how to swim, and just doing something out of the ordinary. Our best moments. And then, of course, in 2014 is when we moved to Rongai and now began a church now as a senior pastor. But that one, God has been good. The other now challenge was my own dad. He had diabetes for a long time. But come 2021, around July, he got stroke back at home. And being the eldest, like now a son, so I went and brought him to our house, and he stayed with us for 5 months. Actually, it's like I stopped working, literally. And it was just during COVID times. So she was working partly from home, or he had gone back to the office. So I used to take him for physiotherapy twice a week, just within Rongai. It's like I really stopped working and really worked on him and helped him. He became a bit better, took him back home around 2021 August, and he was there. For me, I used to imagine that marriage is spontaneous. Like things just unfold. This thing called love is just spontaneous. I don't have to really work, struggle. To get married, it is work. It's like joining a school of life where everything, every day is a learning process. We keep learning 20 years down the line. We keep asking ourselves, is that really you? So for me now, I discovered every day I must be, especially as a husband, I must be deliberate to make her happy, support her, express love to her, and support our children. That's what I've learned, and that's a big thing.
Thank you. I think we had great expectations that, when we were getting married, if I would touch him like this, goosebumps,
Dream stage,
there's that that emotional boiling therein, and you expect that will last forever. But as I got into marriage, I realized that marriage shifts to commitment. Yes, whether you feel it or not, then you have committed to allow God to help your partnership and marriage work.
Sure.
Yes, I also realized I see him as tall, dark, handsome, but as we interact, you realize he's able to know a lot of my weaknesses. I'm able to know a lot of his weaknesses.
Yeah.
But I'll offend him, he'll offend me, I'll do what he doesn't like, he does what I don't like. So I realized the counseling really helped, because in conflict resolution, I realized forgiveness really helps to fund the marriage, laying things on the table. I would imagine things will just be talking and blending and flowing. But I realized that as we have continued in this walk, if there is something that is challenging, it is always safe to find an avenue to discuss. For me, I'm quick at laying it on the table so that we finish up with it. For him, he would keep quiet, but as we continued, now he also lays things on the table and tells me, I don't want that. I'm like, okay, we sit, we discuss. So that has really helped us to continue stepping forward without building up piles of maybe hatred, bitterness, and waiting for an explosion. Then also, as the kids come in, I realize parenting is a course in itself, in comparison to just being the two of us.
Sure.
So in parenting, I've come to realize that we don't know everything. But what I have seen before our children, is that children pick, one, what you do, and two, these children, especially these Gen Z manenos, they are very sharp. They are able to gauge which parent they can manipulate more.
Okay, Anne, since the time I saw you for the first time, you've kept your smile as real and genuine, and I always loved you. I one time thought, if she can only be my wife, and it came to pass. And thank you so much, and I love you. Thank you for
Thank
20
you.
years. You've bared with me. Sometimes I'm so fast. I am so tough. Thank you for the patience. You've taught me to slow down and just relax. Hand over things to God. You can't be Jesus. Find time and rest. You've prayed with me. You've encouraged me, corrected me, and you've loved me and supported
Wow.
me in what I do.
Thank
And
you.
so I love you, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Wow, I love you too.
Yeah.
So, Josh, I love you so, so much. You're the father to my lovely children.
Yes.
You're a great companion to me. You have loved me in and out of season. You have taught me to have a very open heart towards everybody.
Yeah.
And you have been a great, great companion. Yeah, you have taught me to stand firm in tough times. And you're the best thing that ever happened to me. And I'm thankful to God. I pray that God will keep excelling you from deep within, inside out, and causing your dreams and visions and desires to come to fruition in accordance to His will. So I love you so, so much.
Thank
And
you.
we shall live together
Yeah.
till old age. We shall be walking like this.
Thank
yeah,
you.
as God enables
Thank
us.
you.
I love you
appreciate
so, so
it.
much.
I love you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Wow.